So as you know that I also have a long journey in trying out different ventures and different things.
Yeah.
And what we have observed that India is one of the largest market as a consumer, right? We consume almost everything around the sun, and we're one of the largest consumer. But obviously, when it comes to production, in terms of we are not that great, right? We still are dependent on a lot of things on other countries, and countries which are very small than us and very less resourceful than us in terms of people, in terms of brain. They are doing better than us in a lot of areas, right? And second observation was that the success ratio of businesses in India is very low, right? And startup, I think, is a very recent culture. If I will not say very old culture, but
Yeah.
I think before startup culture came into the picture, I think doing business was not the first career choice for most of the people. It was something else, right? So what we observed that, and second, I think observation is that people who are doing business even today, right? Most of them, I think, are looking for a self-employment kind of model. They don't move from that self-employment to a scale where they understand, okay, this is a business need to scale up, right? So they end up at some level at some orbit, and then they when they attain some kind of success, I think the risk-taking appetite, I don't know why it goes on the reverse model. Like when they have nothing in hand, they are ready to put everything into the game. But when you have something in hand, they become over-conscious and over conservative, and then they don't play the big game. So I think that's I think one of the reasons I think we don't see much of unicorns coming from India, right? Until it's been funded by somebody else or something like that. So these are some observations what I have. And while I was planning to, obviously I'm ready with a lot of content. Then I thought, let me meet people who actually have done it and who have gone it there and seen that. I think they can give me a better version of how actually it happened and why those thought processes are like that. Then obviously I met a lot of people. I think I've told you, I met Dinesh Agarwalji, I met Ashish Tulsian, I met, in fact, yesterday, day before yesterday, I interviewed Kuvar Sadev, the Supreme founder of that. And everybody has a lot of different stories, but there are a few traits which are very common in each other, right? They all are passionate about their work. They understand the need of the customer very well, right?
Yeah.
And they know that they will never be resourceful. They will never have all the resources all the time. So they know how to live for the day and move to the next day, right? Whatever they have. So then I thought that these all are now version of an individual based on their experience in life. You have been into this ecosystem from 20 years. I think you have, I don't know how many players you must have seen, people who are, I think, walked in as a kid in your office or some kind of support, right? And I know in 20 years, I know whether I'm sure today, I think you have to call them and ask for a meeting sometime. Right?
Of course.
And you must have seen all kind of stories, the big failures, the big success, and all that thing. So I think your view would be a very unbiased and very you have the sample size that is highest with you in terms of how people actually move to the journey and what make them successful and what make them failure.
Sure. Thanks for Deepak, and first of all, congratulations for your effort and your initiative of the book. Really proud of you. In terms of my journey, what I would say is that in these last almost 2 decades of being part of this startup ecosystem by way of TiE. I mean, previous to that, I've had some entrepreneurial experience in a small way. But these 20 years where I've had the opportunity to meet hundreds and hundreds of founders, I think the biggest takeaway for me has been that the one reason that has kept me in this role for 20 years is the fact that I have seen phenomenal amount of sort of sense of passion that they bring to the table, the energy, the ideas that they have, whether the idea is good, whether the idea is bad, whether the company will succeed, whether it will not succeed. But the single biggest driving factor has been their own self-belief in themselves, So I think it is that self-belief which gives us at TiE the sort of feeling that if we can help in any way, we must try to help, because when someone has the ability to put in so much of their, sort of life and at stake in putting together an idea, it needs a good shot in the arm in every way possible. So we've seen stories of success and failure. Biggest successes have been where not only has the idea been good, but the idea has had a problem that it solved. It worked successfully, and more importantly, from idea to the execution stage. I mean, the execution people behind that, the teams that have come together with the founders to actually give some amount of great execution capability, the ability of founders to actually change, pivot as and when required, because nothing will stay the same forever. So from that point of view, the successes have been there, where there has been better engagement, better understanding, and more receptiveness among the founders to actually take feedback and work according to that. Failures, of course, instead of failures, I mean, you see that as a learning experience, because I think you learn more through failures than you do through successes in any case. So in each of those cases have been, perhaps in some cases where the founders have been too closely married to their own idea, not open to feedback, where they felt, no, my idea is the best in the world, nobody has ever done it, it's the first ever. So I think those are the ones where the challenge comes in being able to help them in some way or the other, and where they might succeed because they're not really solving a problem, they are just they just have a vision that they want to execute. So those are some of the things. But whether it is a story of success, whether it is a story that has of somebody who has not succeeded but had the ability to dust themselves and then they're all inspirational, and I think that's what keeps us very motivated to do our work as well.
I think my next question was
so the idea might be good also. Sometimes the idea might be ahead of its time.
Right.
Sometimes the idea might need some tweaking to make it more relevant in terms of how it is packaged and positioned.
Right.
So there could be many reasons for that. But yes, I mean, if you look at the situation today, nobody had anticipated it. So even if it was a very good idea just 3 months back,
Right.
Today it's no longer a good idea, So
Right.
it's unpredictable in that sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one more thing, I think in fact, you are handling a very important chapter of TiE, I believe, and I think one of the most active chapter, I think, in country also. I think globally also, I think I've been seeing a lot of places I've been observing and following you, in fact, for last 2 decades now. So, I think you have your chapter one. I think one of the best chapter. I think globally also, if I'm not wrong.
We were fortunate, God's blessing, support of our members, and support and appreciation of the community and TiE Global. We've been fortunate to have that kind of support.
Right. So you have basically the complete expertise or knowledge of complete what's happening globally across countries on the ecosystem.
I think India's contribution has never been small. Even if you look some 300 years back or whatever, India was contributing 25% of the GDP, if I'm not wrong. And then, of course, we've had various ups and downs, colonization, all of that, which led to various issues. But I think the self-belief that Indians have in themselves, the self-belief that India has in herself as a country, that has never gone away. So whether it is Indians who have gone abroad and created wealth and value and jobs and then given back to the country, which is one of the things which led to the birth of TiE, but whether they have been in roles overseas or whether they have been in India, I think that entrepreneurial spirit has always been very, very strong. There's no part of the world where you will not find Indians in large numbers contributing to the economy, contributing to society, and now even increasingly contributing to the political environment in different countries as well. So I think that bodes very well for us. we've seen recently that, despite obviously there's no denying that there are challenges within the country of economy, or it could be with regard to policies, it could be with regard to the culture or people or anything like that. But the simple fact is that today, when we are going through this kind of a challenge, India's name has come right on top in terms of what solutions it can provide, what assistance to the world it can provide, and has taken a sort of a leadership statesman sort of a position, rather than just turning inward and dealing with our problems. We are out there helping the world. And I think we will play a big role going forward, not only in terms of dealing with the COVID-19 situation or helping solve it, but I think also in terms of bringing the economy back on track, and for the Indian startup as well as the Indian MSME sector, I think this is a very, very good time to be able to sort of introspect and come up with better solutions. The opportunity is there. The market is going to be there. It may not be the same market that they were used for, the traditional market that they were used to, but they have to be open to the idea of making that change and making a mark. It will not only be good for the world at large, but for India itself and its own population as well. There's a big opportunity. Innovation, and sort of, they say that it's at times like this when the best companies are born. I mean, in a downturn, in a difficult situation. So you have to find the silver lining, and every entrepreneur should not waste an opportunity such as this to do whatever they can.
And I think one other, I'll just move away from now entrepreneurship to other part of the thing, that we have been observing a lot of companies that what it takes to become a unicorn, and what does it take to become a leadership position in any vertical we talk about. So I think one of the common factor which comes out is the customer experience of that brand. So the key differentiator between a follower and a leader is that the customer experience is very different, and people are ready to pay more for a company who can offer them a better customer experience, right? But somehow, at least I've seen, at least in SME, if not in startup, the startup which are coming up very customer focused right now. But there are SME, the traditional SME basically, which are working in that. They still don't like to invest on customer experience, right?
I think it is very simple. If you look at any SME, what is it that is of main concern to them? Their main concern is धंधा अच्छा चलना चाहिए. धंधा अच्छा चलना चाहिए means that they should have enough customers, enough money, they should be profitable. And the bottom line is that if you look at any survey, if you just look at common sense, you will have better revenues if you have happy customers.
Right.
So if they were to understand it from that perspective, that it is not about saying that you have to be in a fancy glass office to have happy customers who walk in and get impressed with your office, that is not what it means. It just means that if you have satisfied customers, they have a better customer experience, your revenue will increase. They will even be ready to pay more for your service, for your product, if they are happy with you. The second is that they will remain loyal to you. I think customer satisfaction builds a lot of loyalty.
Absolutely.
Repeat customers will come to you if you have that. If you are able to have a good customer experience, the ability for them to recommend other people to you as customers also. So bottom line is that if you look at customer experience not just as a sort of good word, as a checkbox in your strategy, but actually critical to profitability and improved revenues, I think that is what the SMEs would realize is what matters, and many of them actually do focus on that, and that's where they do well. Also, I think it's just about simple business. There is nothing fancy about the word customer satisfaction. It makes good business sense to do that.
One more thing, I think, like TiE Delhi but TiE, I think across globe also. I think you are been more instrumental in terms of providing a platform to all these budding entrepreneurs and all that to connect to the right people, either for funding or for finding the right kind of partnership or alliances. But you are sitting on such a huge resource of knowledge bank in terms of what works, what doesn't work, right? And what are so there are obviously there are 1,000 things, there are 1,000 stories, and every business has a unique story. But there are some rules which are always there for everyone, right?
So you're right about that. You're right about that, absolutely. And we do have some modules under TiE Institute which we have been running, which help people understand that if you have an idea, how do you take it to execution? How do you, even simple things like how do you register a company? What are the compliances you should have? How to write a business plan? What are term sheets? So just basically helping them understand every aspect of business that will help them to become better personally and professionally in their business life. The second thing is that we have regular sessions, and in most of those cases it is not TiE that is writing or giving out a handbook or a sort of a classroom session. It is actual practitioners, people who have implemented that business, who are subject matter experts, who share their knowledge through these TiE Institute sessions as well. We are in the process of putting together plans of a startup school, which is very much to your idea, and it will cater to two sets. One set of people who are aspiring entrepreneurs at a very, very early stage, and therefore a set of modules and curriculum that will again be delivered by real life entrepreneurs and industry professionals in terms of early stage, as well as a set of curriculum that will be for growth stage entrepreneurs who have already started and are now looking to scale up. So there is a startup school in the pipeline, but meanwhile, while we get that together, this TiE Institute program, which had been running physically, during our sessions, etc., has now gone online. So we have started putting some of the content on tieinstitute.in. So they can go access videos, access our links that are there for such sessions. And throughout the year, that's our aim, to give as much knowledge out as possible, which is actionable, which is practical, and not just what is taught in a classroom as a theoretical aspect also. It's real life journeys that matter at the end of it.
Absolutely. Right. Any idea about that? Because you people are sitting on such a huge resources, like so much experienced people are there on the chapter, right? All your
and the best part is that they are willing to share their experiences. I mean, when they are part of TiE, they come with an obligation to give back to society. Right. So it is not about just creating a success story for themselves. Right. Somebody along the journey, along the ecosystem and network helped them, and they are now giving back. They are willing to share their experiences, their knowledge. In some cases, there are senior entrepreneurs, companies that are also investing in other startups as well. So they are actually the ones who are putting in time, passion, etc. in building the ecosystem, because they understand that is what will keep the entire sort of economy robust, and it will be good for everybody. Just one company succeeding is not the idea. They're building an entire ecosystem around it, job creation, and not just wealth, but also value creation for a country is coming through these entrepreneurs and what they are doing to give back with their experience.
Any name which you want to recommend? Okay, this is the person I think which you think where you are personally inspired from, in terms of who has actually started from scratch in 2 decades. Is a pretty long time, right? A lot of people must have come and gone, right? You want to name 2 people? Okay, these people have seen them growing brick by brick, and they have attained something in life.
Yeah. So if I were to relate it to my journey at TIE, couple of companies, I've seen actually, if I were to name, let's say, 3 companies who I've seen, like you said, brick by brick, and who I really hold in very high esteem for what they have achieved, because in many cases they have been, sort of the trendsetters or the first in line to be role models to others. One is Sanjeev Bikhchandani of Naukri.com. Extremely, the journey has been of a middle class boy who has had an idea, had the courage to work at it, with the support of his family, etc. And what he has gone on to create is sort of a super success story, and a story that has always resonated very highly with customer satisfaction, because he has always believed that the revenue that you should raise is more from your customer than investor. So I think that is one story that has certainly inspired many people, and has inspired us. We've seen him start early. Dinesh Agarwal, who you talked about in the beginning, of India Mart. I remember when he joined TIE as a young, struggling startup entrepreneur. And one of the first stories in the internet sector, he's had a IPO that has been listed on the Indian Stock Exchange, and what value he has created for the SME sector. It's remarkable, and he keeps reminding me of the fact that when he was a young, struggling startup, he would call me up to help set up meetings or a mentoring session or attend some TIE event, etc. And he loves to embarrass me with that story. But today he is a role model for so many others. He's giving back, and similarly, Deep Kalra, Make My Trip. The reason I take that name is that again, of course, great success story that created so many jobs created. But at the same time, why his story is also very interesting is that he's had to go through many difficult times also. When he launched or when he started his business, it was very close to the time when 9/11 happened.
Right.
And his business model was focused on sort of travelers and overseas travel sector.
Right.
Suddenly there was a change, a hurdle, managed to overcome it so successfully, and there have been many such sort of difficult times, which is what today, when this situation has come where the travel sector is impacted so heavily, I think his company has been one that has not only been dealing with their own challenges, but have been contributing so heavily in terms of helping build the Arogya Setu app and COVID hospital and so many other things that they are doing to actually give back and help in this situation as well. They are all success stories in their own right. They have been role models to others. They are all investing in young startups now. They have all sort of recognized that their time and their contribution to TIE has been something that is deeply valued and cherished, and they have all been contributing to TIE in many ways. And there are so many other stories that I can go on talking about, but since you asked for some names, here are 3 that I would certainly like to mention, because I have seen them pretty much from the time that I joined TIE. We grew together in that sense. Of course, where they've gone is very different to where I still am.
I think you are, I think, more in a professor role, I mean, where you see your student come and go and move into that. So
no, I see my success in them. Every time a TIE member's company succeeds or achieves any milestone, I think I relate to it with as much pride and passion as they do, I suppose. So, yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so moving on to the funding part, like I think, which is one of the major, I think, milestone for anyone to achieve that.
Much has been said about this. Of course, there are daily sort of sessions and webinars and stories that are covered on that. Very simply put, I will just, take just a few comments on that. One is it's going to be difficult. I mean, funding is always difficult. It is never easy for an entrepreneur, even though there was so much capital out there available. But when entrepreneur, you can ask any entrepreneur, and you would also realize that when you go out to look for it, it is never easy to find, though it's out there in the market. That said, it will be difficult to raise capital for a couple of reasons. First of all, the investors will be more cautious with the money that they now invest, because they will need to see what business they are investing in, what will be the demand, the market size, and how will the teams be able to do that. The second is that the investors are also having to sort of protect some of their current portfolio companies. So there may be cases where they're having to give bridge rounds to their existing portfolio to make sure that they are able to survive and move beyond this point. In some of these cases, the investors will be working with their startups in terms of perhaps also recommending changes to business model. What might have worked a few months ago may not continue to work in the same manner as it was. The company is not bad. The company is good. The investment is sound. The team is, something that they believe in, which is why they invested in the first place. But there may be some hand-holding that they might be doing to pivot and change the business model going forward. Those companies that don't do that may not end up surviving. So I think those challenges are there. But at the same time, I do know of stories where investments are continuing to happen. I know that, for example, Indian Angel Network is continuing to invest. I was on a call today with Ankur Capital. They are closing 2 investments. So I think some of the discussions which were ongoing are still continuing to happen. The difference might be that due diligence is now online rather than physically being across a table or sitting in someone's office. At the same time, great credit to the investor community that came together very, very quickly within this period to actually announce a lot of opportunities for startups to get access to alternate finance also. So one of the first things that was where several investors, VCs and other successful entrepreneurs put together money to create a grant. It's called ACT grants that can be looked at, where they have identified certain sectors that provide solutions to COVID in different ways, where entrepreneurs can actually get grants, not equity, but actually grants to work on their ideas and take it to the market. And you can imagine that when it's not just money, it is also the kind of experience that these investors and entrepreneurs bring to the table, what value it creates for the entrepreneur. At TiE, we have partnered with Indifi Technologies to help startups get access to growth debt capital for business continuity, etc. And many other organizations, including the government and all the schemes that are being announced. So whatever possibly at the moment, at the first turnaround could be done, is continuing to be done. And hopefully it will continue to improve and increase as well. But that said, of course, there are no miracles that will happen. So things will be somewhat slow, not dried up completely. So I think our entrepreneurs need to be responsible about what they are doing, build for the future, but at the same time they need to be optimistic and continue to try whatever they're working on.
So 2 more questions for you. I will not take more than now 5 minutes for you. So one is, I think...
One line, I can never give one-line answers. You see how I talk so much.
Because you have so much content. So you have... That's the reason I wanted to talk to you about this.
No. In a very simple nutshell, what I would just say is that have courage at this time, because your courage, your conviction, and your communication with your team and your customers and the external, stakeholders that you have will matter a lot at this time. They need to be open to anticipating what changes are required. Doing nothing and just sitting and waiting for things to change and become normal again will not be a good strategy. So they need to make sure that they take whatever steps are required. There are enough advisors out there. There are enough organizations out there to help them. They need to have courage of conviction, but at the same time take action and not just sit and wait for something to happen.
Absolutely, very valid point you said. And last question, which is more of my personal interest on that when you heard of this title of my book, that Junoon, Jurat and Jugaad, what comes in your mind first, and what is your definition of these three words?
If you look at Junoon, for example, Junoon is basically what? Passion, it's conviction, is there in startup founders in large doses. Otherwise, they would not become a founder. It's not easy. It's one of the most difficult things, and hard struggle, lonely journey, whatever you call it, to be a startup founder. If somebody is coming just to make a quick buck and earn quick money by becoming a startup, they should not do it, because there are a lot of challenges that they face, and the only way that they will be able to survive is by having that junoon, which could be passion or junoon for their idea. It could be passion for making a change in society, solving a problem in society. It could be about being the best. It could be a junoon for delivering a great product, being a great boss. Whatever it is that are their sort of top priority, but without that junoon, that passion and conviction, it's very hard to survive an entrepreneur's journey. Zarurat, though, of course, it's important for the entrepreneur or the founder to recognize that the Zarurat is not just for them to be an entrepreneur and to have an idea, but the customer needs to have Zarurat for their product or service, whatever they are asking for. So I think the founders need to put themselves in the customer's shoes and see it from their point of view, to see iski zarurat hai bhi ki nahi hai, whether it is like a vitamin pill which is good to have, or it is like a painkiller which is imperative, uski zarurat hame hai hi nahi to hum kaam nahi kar sakte. So I think zarurat has to be understood from who it is serving rather than your own passion for it. And the third, I think, is your term jugaad, which of course in the Indian context has also been used and misused in both ways. So as long as jugaad is taken in the positive sense of creating innovation, of creating something new, of creating a disruption in the way things are done, I think in that sense jugaad is great. For example, in the current situation, there will be a lot of jugaad that people have been using to see, okay, if I had this business, how do I change and make PPE kits, for example. So that kind of jugaad, or how do I get my material from one place to another in this time of lockdown. So as long as jugaad is being used in a positive sense for creating disruption and a new product or service, that's great. Of course, highly encouraged. But if it is looked at from a jugaad perspective of saying, to get something done as an entrepreneur, I'm willing to bend the rules and go around something and call that jugaad, that's not the kind of jugaad that we encourage our founders to take up, because that is what sort of puts a bad light on India or Indian entrepreneurs and things like that. So I think ethics, corporate governance, all of that has to be extremely high as far as startup founders are concerned, and it doesn't come later in life where you have to say, okay, now I'm raising funding and therefore I need to have good corporate governance. It starts from day one, and as you grow, as you raise funds and reach out to or have your exits or whatever plans you may have, you will realize that good corporate governance rather than negative jugaad will stand you in good stead. So I would take all these three very important points, junoon, jugaad, zarurat, definitely, but all in the positive sense of the word.
Absolutely. I think First of all, thank you for giving me so much time, and you've been too honest and too liberal to answer all my questions without ditching it. And it's always been a wonderful, in fact, interacting with you. I always get something out of it, right? So, and God bless you for promoting the complete ecosystem around our country, and all the best for you. And I'll touch base to you again for my other needs and all that as usual.
Sure. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you. All the best to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.